Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick. Look, I hope everybody has had a great week up to this point. It is Thursday. It is Thankful Thursday. And I am here today actually to share with you one of the reasons I am immensely thankful and grateful at this time. This is going to be one of those days where it's going to be both a lesson, a celebration, and an opportunity. Um, I am so thankful, and I'm going to share with you the importance of the ability to develop a heart of gratitude, a mind of gratitude, a state of being grateful. And it's not always going to be when everything's going your way. It's not always going to be when you're getting your pats on the back. You're going to have to learn how to be thankful when everything around you seems to be going the opposite direction you wanted to go in, when it seems that everything you're hoping and wishing for seems distant and far off. You're going to have to learn to be thankful, because when you close your heart of gratitude, you close the gate of opportunity, you close the gate of abundance. You're going to have to be thankful. And one of the reasons that I have been able to develop the capacity to be thankful no matter what is I'm able to have a long-term perspective. I know that things are momentary. I know that I need to be in the moment, but I also know that my life isn't defined by one moment. My life is going to ultimately be defined by how I handle moments, how I handle the good moments, how I handle the blah blah moments, how I handle the terrifying moments, and they're all coming. You don't skate around life. Life is going to bring you challenges. Life is going to bring you reward. Life is going to bring you excitement. Life is going to bring you times where you're wondering what in the hell is going on. That's life. And what you've got to be able to do is learn how not to be caught in the moment to the point that you can't see the future. And because I'm able to see the outcome, because I'm able to see what's going to happen a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what life is going to look like, what my legacy will say, because everything hangs on my legacy right now. What am I creating that I will leave behind? What am I creating that my children can look at and say, he laid the foundation, we just have to pick it up? What am I looking at that said that what am I looking at and seeing how I've touched people's lives long after I'm gone? They're still talking about how I impacted them. That's what matters to me, not what I drive, not all that stuff. I've played that game. That was the first half of my life. And my life was empty. It looked good on the outside. It shined. Everybody wanted to be around. And inside, I was miserable. And then I've had some challenging moments over the last 10 or 15 years. People look at it and go, oh my God, what the hell? I'm sorry about this, man. I've lost 3 siblings, one last year, lost my marriage, lost a close friend and former fellow teammate at the end of last year, lost another one literally at the beginning of the year. So within a week, I lost 2 friends. Turn around, I just lost a cousin. And and that doesn't even go into the challenges that's going on with the business and just having kids and all this stuff like that. And people going, but no, what you don't understand is that's life. When you have a big family, unfortunately, you're going to deal, if you don't go first, you're going to deal with losing people. And you've got to learn how to understand and appreciate people while you have them with you. What this has taught me is the importance of loving on people, those who are close in relation, but also those people who pop up in your life, the people at the corner, the people in the aisle at the store. When I walk off into the grocery store, there's an Aldi not that far from me, and I dip off into that because they have these little cute little specials and stuff with little stuff I can't find anywhere else. I'm an HEB person, but Aldi is cool to me. And I pop in there and I'm friends with everybody, and I'm sure because I'm always meeting people and talking to the person in line. And what I'm doing is I'm pouring something positive into them. And so it's not just about the people who pay me. Now, the people who pay me, they get a whole nother thing, but just being a light is so important. So I'm touching lives. That's what matters to me. I'm leaving a legacy. When you go and you look at the testimonies on my page of the people whose lives I've impacted and listen to it, this isn't that, he helped me get this. And this is stuff where, man, I come to tears when I hear it, because most of the people that come in, they've actually been in the background for years. My clients come up, and when I start working with them, they've read books of mine. They've watched hundreds of videos, and I'm going like, you don't know who's watching you. And so that's the thing. I'm always looking at what's in front of me. What does my hero look like? And see, my hero, for those of you who don't follow me, my hero is me 5 years from now. I made up in my mind a long time ago that I would have men I admired, but the only hero I would have would be something that I can attain. I'm never going to be Malcolm X. I'm never going to be Les Brown. I'm never going to be Tony Robbins. I'm never going to be Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Naeem Akbar, Dr. Claude Anderson. All these people that I've admired, I've read, I've studied. I've actually used their work to build my research and my work. But I'm never going to be Martin. I'm never going to be Marcus. I'm never going to be Ray Dalio. I'm never going to be Warren Buffett. I'm never going to be any of those guys. But what I can be is a better version of myself. So what I do is I look 5 years down and I say, what does he look like? What has he done that I haven't done? How does he view things in a way that's different than I view things? And I see that person. I say, that's the person I'm going to become. That's the person. Look what he's doing. And then I get thankful because I understand everything that I'm going through now is taking me to that point. And so it's not as bad as it looks. It's just a part of life. You got to be able to understand. It's not smooth sailing. Anybody that's got this easy path, I'm telling you, they're not experiencing one fraction of what they were meant to experience, and they're not getting fulfillment out of life. In order to get the things that actually allow us to move into places that we haven't been, we've got to be willing to do things that most people won't do. So why am I so thankful today? It's because a labor of love, something I've been working on for years, came to fruition this week. You've heard me. I've been talking about the Legacy Wealth Academy for months. I created it years ago. I want to say 2015. I created it, but it was just for a few people that I knew we were getting together and trying to do something. And but I knew I wanted a course that will allow people to stop talking about wealth building and start building, no matter where they were, no matter what they made, to understand that they could start. Because if you can start, you can get some progress. And all you have to do is see the progress and you get encouraged. But if you never start because you think, I got to have this amount before I start, I've got to know this or be this or do this and all these different things and all these myths. And I deal with a number of different myths that actually are marketed to the masses, that keep the masses locked out, because these myths get you to thinking that this is the only way to do it. I can't have it, or whatever. There are these myths, and they are dealt with in this course. I created this course. I'm excited about this course. It's the first of many for the Legacy Wealth Academy, which was launched online Monday. First course was launched Monday. There are going to be many courses. This course is the most comprehensive course I've seen on wealth building anywhere. I've seen a lot of different stuff that's unbelievable on certain things. We deal with everything from stock market. We deal with foreign exchange. We deal with real estate. We deal with insurance annuities. We deal with art, and we deal with building trusts. Understanding how you use trust to protect your wealth, how you use trust to pass down your wealth, how you use trust to control and govern how your wealth is going to be used once you're gone. All of this stuff, we deal with every last part of it. And it's a step-by-step process, 8 sections over 18 months. It's been a labor of life. I put so much of myself, time, energy, money, sacrifice, research. I've talked to some of the greatest minds in finance. I'm not talking about the internet gurus. I'm talking about the people you look up when you hear their name. You know that person is that dude. Seeking them out, asking for time, in some instances paying for time, in some instances paying for licensing, in some instances sitting up and paying for content, whatever I've had to do to put this curriculum together. When you are able to go to the site, you will be able to see this. The link for the site is, link for the course is in there, and you get the preface of the course. In the preface of the course, you're going to also see the syllabus. Just open the syllabus up. I created it in a flip book. That flip book will show you the entire course syllabus. That's 8 sections. Each one of those sections is several months of just content. You're going to get video lectures from the top dogs. You're going to get written content from the top dogs. You're going to get books that you have to read. I'm going to supply you with written material to read. We're going to create a step-by-step process. We're going to learn the price of your dream. Whatever it is you want to do in life has a price on it. If you don't know that price, it's hard to aim for it and know what steps to take to get there. It's hard to know if you're making any progress because you don't even know where you're going. You just, I want a better life. I want more money. I want to be fine. What does it look like? We clarify all of that in this. I'm so excited about it. Now, obviously, the thing is, in order for me to do this, I want to get you to understand thankfulness. Yes, I want you to take advantage of this opportunity because it's an unbelievable thing. Also, that's what I forgot to put in there. There's also an opportunity for you to earn money by referring people to this course. 10% of whatever the initial enrollment fee is for them is going to be paid out to people referral. And I'm going to share that again a little later on. I'm going to have to put it in. Matter of fact, I might be able to do it now. Let's see if I can. I'm going to keep talking while I'm doing this, but I'm going to see if I can actually get the referral. Oh, there it is. It wasn't as hard as I thought. And then I'm just going to go in and put it into each box if it'll allow me. It may not allow me to do it. Here it is. All right, let's see if it'll allow me to do it. I'm going to try to, here's the affiliate. What I'm going to do initially is I'm going to put the affiliate link. Will it allow me to edit? Oh yeah, here it is. I'm going to be doing this while I'm talking. Look, affiliate link. Excuse me. I want this in here because this is how you can actually earn money. Which is another way. You need passive income anyway. And I actually have the 7-day online business launch course that'll show you how to actually put up your own space so that you can promote affiliate programs, which is just one way that you can earn money online without having a product or a service to offer. You need to have these passive forms of income, something else that we get into in the course. But anyway, I just wanted to get this in here. So you guys forgive me for a second because I'm definitely not finished talking about this, but I want to get this in here. And thank God for copy and paste because I'm broadcasting on like 8 different platforms at one time. So you guys forgive me. But I want to make sure. Okay, here we go. I don't know how this is going to turn out on YouTube, but if not, I'll fix it once I get over there. And to my YouTube family, both at the Visionetics Institute and the Black Voice, this is really huge. So I hope that you're catching it and getting it. So I'm back. I appreciate your patience. Normally, I'm not the one. I hate going to a live and having to wait 5 minutes for somebody to get started. So if you always notice, I get started immediately. I try to get into it. So the whole thing is me giving you what I got. But I needed to take care of that because that's a way that you can immediately start earning extra income. And I want you to check it before you refer anybody. I want you to go to the site, check it out. And the link is in there to go to the site. Now, here's the thing. As a celebration, I did the launch, but I didn't do an official launch because so much was going on. I had a bunch of stuff happening. Some of the stuff, that, isn't so exciting and great, but you got to deal with. I had that going on. So I didn't do an official launch like I wanted to, but I had to get it up because I had people who had pre-enrolled. So I had to get it off. But this is the official announcement, the official launch. And so what we're doing today is we're rolling back for today only the enrollment price for people who pay the complete cost. It's normally for, if you pay up front all at once, it's $2,595, $2,595. Today, it's rolled back to the initial pre-enrollment offer of $997 today only. You can get it. And the beautiful thing is, if you click the link to do it, you can also break that $997 down into 4 payments using Afterpay. Now, if once today is up, that same link will still be good, but it will be back at the regular price of $25.95. Now, if you want the benefit of paying up front $25.95, but you don't have the total amount, you still want to use that link because you can break it down into 4 payments. If you pay the $25.95 online, it's a flat. You got to put the whole thing on your card or your debit card, your credit card or your debit card. But there's an installment plan. That link is going to be on the site as well. So you go to the site and you can either pay in full, or you can pay using an installment. A down payment of less than $500 will get you in, and you will pay a certain amount over the next 12 months, and you get the same access. But the person who pays up front does get a few more benefits, more access, more personal direct access to me, I think every 3 months versus every 6 months. But you're still in there and you're learning, and you have email access to me every day. And I'll refer you to the people or experts on the area. Now, what you need to understand about this course, this isn't a course on what Rick Wallace knows about finance. This is above my pay grade. I've learned so much over the last 7 years learning this, that my whole life is flipped in how I do things. One of the things that's probably changed the most is I don't go cash heavy on anything. I stay away from cash. I stay away from cash because it's the most volatile form of holding or possessing your wealth that you can have. The value of the dollar is so volatile right now. A great deal of the inflation now isn't supply and demand. It's the decrease in the value of the dollar. That's one of the things I've done. Also, putting what I have into hard places. A great deal of my value is in my business. That's what I'm leaving to my kids. Fine. It's so much that you learn about this thing that, the first thing you hear is a millionaire. They got $1 million in the bank. Very few millionaires have $1 million liquid. Their millionaire status is their total asset holdings minus their debt. And that's going to be in everything but probably cash in the bank. We saw what happened with the SVB, the Silicon Valley Bank, and how that's playing out. Just one thing that, you learn. But the beauty of this thing is, no matter what's going on in the economy, there's a way to win. You just got to learn how the game is being played. And from the minds of Carl Icahn, Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett, David Swenson. These are the people we tapped in, multi-billionaires who make their money investing. These aren't trust fund kids. These are people who make their money investing, make their money in holdings. And there's so many more. There are a bunch, and we got them, and they're giving you their entire outlook. And the thing is, it's not something that's exclusive to them. Now, they're at the pinnacle of it, but there are people, you're going to hear stories about John Crowley. John Crowley is a Black man who worked as a parking lot attendant. He made $12 an hour, most in his entire career, but he just happened to be a parking lot attendant in the financial district. So the people who were parking in his parking lot were advisors, were stockbrokers, were money managers. And he would simply ask them questions when they would come out, have conversations, and friendly. He did his whole career. They got to know him. They knew him on a first name basis. He would talk to them. They would give him advice. He did it. He retired with a portfolio over $600,000 in assets, but he had paid for his home. He had sent his kids to college, and he was growing it, and he had taught them, and they were doing it. Now imagine you retire with a net worth over $500,000 and you made $12 an hour. The average person making $12 an hour don't have anything, because they believe that they got to take everything, put it over here, and just work. And you're never going to win in survival mode. Now, I've told you that over and over again. I can tell you that from my area of expertise. If you're in survival mode, you can't be projecting long term, because the only thing you're worried about is the problem that you're looking at today. And as long as you're doing that, you may get that worked out. But guess what happened? You're not prepared for tomorrow. So when you get tomorrow, you got something else hitting your face that you're not ready for because you haven't built a long-term plan. I'm telling you, long-term objectivity is so important here. But anyway, what I'm trying to get everybody to understand is there's a place that you start. This man actually sit down and worked for his entire career, making $12. He never quit his job, but he learned how to take what he was getting and just put a little bit in, a little bit. But one thing he did is the same thing that Theodore Johnson did. Another one of the case studies that is presented in this course that outlines the power of compound interest. We normally deal with compound interest in the reverse. That means that we're building debt using compound interest. Our houses is compounded, our cars are compounded. And so the longer it takes us to pay it off, the more interest is built, the more we pay over the original cost of the purchase. Well, compound growth is the reverse. It's whatever I put in, I'm going to earn interest on it, but the interest is also going to get interest. So as I'm putting in, I'm building more growth in interest, but the interest is also gathering interest, and it just continues to compound. It's the most unutilized, and the one thing that every last one of these people that I talk to, every last one of these people that I sent a message out to, and they sent me their response to my emailed interview, basically what it is, I sent questions, they sent back answers. The ones that wouldn't talk to me responded. It's amazing how willing they are to share. Now, when you get to people who are just getting on and they finally getting to go, it's hard to get them to share because they're in that competition mode. They think it's only a certain amount out there, and if they give you something, then they lose something. No, get to the people that understand that the more they share, the more they give, the more they get. They won't shut up. And so the thing is that one of the most common things that I found is that every last one of them said the most underutilized instrument in wealth growth is compound interest. Theodore Johnson, prime example. Theodore Johnson worked a long time ago. He's long gone now. He passed away, I want to say in his 90s, but he worked for UPS way back in the day. And the most he ever made, I think, was $14,000 a year. But he knew somebody who was wealthy, and he was telling him, man, I would love to have your life. And he told him, you could have my life. He says, man, I make this, I'm there. It's a great job, but I'm never going to be rich. He says, yes, but here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to take 20% of your income, and you're going to have to invest it in some kind of way that you can get a compounded return. Now, I don't know what that was back then, but right now, the big thing is index funds, passively managed mutual funds like the S&P 500. But all this stuff is in the course. But whatever it was, he initially said, I can't afford to. I only make, he said, you can't afford not to. That is the theme that I get. The worse your financial status is, the more pressing it is for you to make a move. The idea that I'm going to do it when I get is what keeps people from having. You got to think long term. First of all, there's no get rich quick scheme unless you win the lottery. But if you don't understand money, you normally end up broke again. And even those who have some kind of unbelievable skill set that puts them in a unique position where they can get a lot of money, i.e. athletes, 72% of NBA players are broke within 3 years of retiring. almost 75% of NFL players are broke within 3 years of retiring. Why? Because the money's coming, but the money isn't indefinite. It has an end date. And if all you know is how to spend it, you're going to run out. I don't care how frugal. Now, I've heard some unbelievable things that some players have done. I heard that Chad Johnson, also known as Ocho Cinco, slept on the compound. He slept at the practice facility, saving his money. He saved that somewhere over 80-something% of the money he earned over the course of his career. That was smart. The even smarter thing, and he didn't say that he didn't, the even smarter thing would be to have invested that in some pretty conservative long-term investments. But back to Theodore. Theodore finally is convinced that he needs to take 20%. This is what the guy told him. He said, you're complaining about the 20%. Let me tell you something. If the U.S. government came to you right now and said they're going to increase your taxes by 20%, you would have a fit. You would be upset. You would throw a tantrum. But at the end of the day, you would pay them that 20%. and you will keep moving. You will figure it out, but you won't tax yourself to grow. You won't tax yourself to improve your situation. He said that's the problem of the people who are stuck in poverty. You're going to have to be willing to tax yourself, make some sacrifice, make some hard decisions on the front end so that the back end is sweet. So what did he do? He did the 20%. And he put it, and over time it just grew. It grew, it grew, it grew. And he was still working. He just like John Crowley. He didn't say, oh man, I found my niche and leave his job. He stayed working at his job. But I'm gonna tell you something. If you got a job you love, it's so sweet when you're showing up because you just want to be there and you don't have to. Everything, everybody does. I mean, some people want to do what they do. They just wish they were getting better results and better benefits doing it. But he stayed on his job. He retired from UPS. But at the time of his retirement, in his mid-60s, he was worth $72 million. He grew that to almost 90 million before he died at 90. And half of that, I think a year or two before he died, half of that he gave to charity. He never made more than $14,000 a year. How the hell did he get 72 million? Compound growth, choosing the right stock, asset allocation, and so much more. All the things taught in this course. But he didn't start with $10,000. He started with 20% of whatever his paycheck was. And he said, I'm going to make something happen. Now, let me be clear here. This is not any type of investment gig. We're not asking you to invest anything, but in this course, you're going to learn what to do. Now, you're probably going to meet some people who are trying to do some things because this is an engagement course. There's a place where you can log your comments. You can ask your questions. You're going to be engaged. All this stuff is there. This is, like I said, been my labor and love. The first section is visible when you first log in and start the course. The first of 8 sections is visible. The next week, the next section becomes visible on down the line until you get to your 8th week. And then all of the sections will be true. And we may change that, but I wanted people to focus on the first section. I didn't want them all over the place because it can be overwhelming. Again, this is everything I've learned in 7 years compacted. And of course, you're going to take in 18 months. So trust me, it's a lot, but it's what you got to do. And the thing is, there are going to be those who are willing to sacrifice. There are going to be those who are willing to go in and do what it takes to make it happen. Then there are going to be those who are going to look at it and say, wait, man, that's way too much. And not see, the thing is, I learned from these guys and women. There are some women in here that are in this game. The one thing I learned is it's not just about what you stand to gain, it's about what you stand to lose. They sit up and look, if I don't do this, what happens? That's the question very few people ask. Well, I don't want to do this because I don't feel like doing this, this, and this. But what's the alternative? You don't want to put in the time, the work, the energy, the sacrifices that it's going to take to grow wealth. What's the back end result? What will your years when you're supposed to really be enjoying yourself, chilling, knowing that you've set your family up? And that's the other thing. How many people in a position to set their children up or their grandchildren up? Learn how wealth is passed down multi-generations from the wealthy, and that how they protect that from frivolous spending from the first generation or the second generation, how it gets passed. There's a way to do that. And all of that is explained in this, that, everybody that doesn't understand always talks about trust fund kids, but there's a reason they're trust fund kids. It's the way that they're the people who prepared or created that trust is protecting the wealth that they're passing down. It's unbelievable. All this stuff is in there. But here's the thing. Nobody can change your life but you. Nobody's going to change your life but you. It's that simple. And it's going to require some uncomfortable choices, some uncomfortable times. I'm telling you that the times that I've built the greatest things were the times of the greatest challenge. There are so many things going on in business while I was doing this that I had to manage. So much going on in my personal life while I built this that I had to manage. So much going on with me mentally and emotionally because of all the things. You got to understand, what I do for a living is help people, but I help people on 2 different ends of a spectrum. I operate as a life strategist, or what some may call a life coach. So I'm a performance psychologist on one side. I'm helping people perform. That's the fun part. That's the people that show up and they've already kind of got an idea, because in order to afford me, you've got to already be on your game because you got to have enough money to afford to work with me. So but on the other side are people who are struggling with trauma, traced all the way back to their childhood, depression, all the way up to people dealing with suicidal ideations. And just dealing with someone, that a great deal of how you handle them could be whether they stay in this world or not. That's carrying some stuff. And I do that every day, except Tuesdays. One thing I did at the beginning of this year is I changed the way I deal with everything because I realized the toll it was taking on me. Starting this year, I took a 2-week mental health break where I didn't deal with any clients. I still did some work, but I chose what work I was going to do, anything stressful, I wasn't touching it for a whole week. Didn't deal with any clients for 2 weeks. Didn't deal with any clients for 2 weeks. I managed, and what I realized is I needed that. So what I said is every quarter I'm taking a week, no clients. But I said, I still need something. So I made Tuesdays my mental health day. I don't deal with clients on Tuesday. But what I found is it's giving me a break. But what I'm saying is I'm doing this on it. And while I'm building this course, while I'm interviewing, while I'm sitting up and telling myself that the sacrifices that I'm making to build this course is going to have such a long-term, powerful impact, not just for myself, not just for my family, but for many people who will be able to tap into this and change their lives. I saw the long term. And so I was able to smile. You've watched me show up day after day after day smiling. I'm going through it in the background because I'm fighting for something bigger than myself. And that's what you've got to have a mindset of seeing something bigger than what you're going through and what you're dealing with. Or you're going to fold, you're going to crumble, you're going to reel back. If you go anywhere where I've spoken before and I'm going to speak again and I'm walking out on that stage to take that podium or take that mic, you're going to hear people who have heard me before start to scream, "No surrender, no retreat." It's the coolest freaking thing you can ever imagine because that tells me I got through. That's my thing. No surrender, no retreat. What it means, I'm not giving up and I'm not turning back. When I make up in my mind that I'm going to get something, I'm going to get it or I'm going to die trying. Now, I got an idea and I aim for the fence. I shoot for the star. I'm not trying. I don't want to ever sit up and say, I settle for colorless dreams and dwarf goals. And I was guilty of chitsy giving. I'm just throwing a little something out there for a little crumb. I'm coming off. I'm not taking 1 ounce of this potential God gave me to the grave. I refuse to populate the grave with my potential, with my abundance, with my wealth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it to the world in knowledge, in inspiration, in empowerment, encouragement, and opportunity. And I'm going to do it every day. Every day I'm going to show up because I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. So if I leave this place today, I leave knowing I gave life everything I had. I leave knowing that there's nothing more. I won't leave with regrets. Yes, I made some mistakes. Yes, I made some choices that I wish I had over. Who hasn't? But did I get up and dust myself off? Did I give with a heart of love and care and concern? Did I touch the needy? Did I bring a sense of healing to the hopeless? That's the thing that matters. So this thing that I'm doing now with the Legacy Wealth Academy this isn't just about a dream of financial future, a financial freedom in your future. This is about practical application, practical resources, practical solutions, things that ease the course of this path that every last one of us must travel. Again, there are several ways you can do it today only because this is the official celebration and launch of the Legacy Wealth Academy's first course, which is the Path to Generational Wealth. This is an 18-month course that I compare to a master's in the way that it's delivered, in the amount of information, in the way to prepare you for earning potential. That's my whole thing. How much earning potential comes out of this? And it's massive. And so it is putting you in a position to where you're going to grow. And at the cost, 2,595 for if you pay up front, is a small price to pay, because I guarantee you the least you're going to find, of course, the equivalent of this in any academic institution is 11,000. That's the University of Phoenix. The more of them are going to be 30, 40, $60,000. That's another problem that we're having. And I touch on that in this course, is that we are going into debt for pieces of paper that don't produce enough for us to get out of the debt we got into to get the paper. Student loan debt is one of the greatest weights and heavy anchors into poverty and debt that exists right now. You got people in their 50s still paying off student loan debt. Debt is the number one enemy to wealth. So how can you constantly be signing up for debt and you haven't measured how fastly and quickly you get rid of that debt? I guarantee you, by the time you finish this course, you will probably already have taken some of what's in it and used it and earned the money back you spent on it. If you haven't, then that's just foolish, because I guarantee you it's in there. It's in there. None of this, again, is a get rich quick scheme. I'm not telling you you finna pop this, pop that, and this is going. I'm telling you it's work. I'm telling you it's discipline. Oh, let me say discipline about 5 times. Discipline, 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 discipline. It's about being able to know what you need to do and following through on it. It's about I tell people all the time, you don't need motivation, you need discipline. The motive is knowing why you got to do it. Your motive is my children. Your motive is a better future. The motive is keeping a roof over your head. The motive is not having to beg for money to pay your bills. The motive is all these things. So you don't need motivation. What you need is discipline. Discipline in getting up every day and putting in the work. Discipline in following through. Discipline in understanding how to manage your money. Being committed to growing in your awareness of what makes you better every day. Discipline in following through on every aspect of those steps. Discipline in managing your money. All of that is what it comes to. You could take all this, and if you don't have discipline, it's not going to work for you. You could take a fraction of what's in this course, and if you have discipline, your life is going to change. Here's a little something along the line of discipline, and then I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna let you guys do what you do. Here's a little something along the line of discipline, just from me. And I try to be disciplined in anything I do. If I commit to something, I try to be disciplined in doing it. Some things are more challenging than others because you are heavily guided by habitual thinking, how you think about something, how you approach something, and you need to address your thinking. And this is what I do with my clients: address your thinking towards what it is you say you want. Well, one of the things that I started to do once I really truly started to understand, well, getting rich is one thing. Building and holding wealth is something completely different. You learn all that stuff in this course. But one thing, getting money from me, I've done that. I mean, I've done it at a lot higher level than I'm doing it now. And still here I am. Here's why. There's a difference in discipline. And here's one of the things that I immediately changed. Got rid of all the cars, kept one. Driving it till the wheels fall off. And I'll get people say, you still in that same SUV. It's a nice one. And it's a luxury brand. I don't get into bragging about whatever. If you've seen it, you've seen it. If you haven't, you haven't. But I've had it. And if you look, I know a lot. The number one vehicle driven by millionaires in America is a Toyota Camry. Then next is a Honda Accord. I think the only luxury brand in the top 10 is Lexus. I know Mercedes and BMW fall in the top 20, but so the idea that you got to have this thing, the thing is, people that don't have wealth tend to look for symbols of wealth to represent success. But that's a whole nother thing. I get into that. All that stuff's in there. But here's the thing. So what I decided is getting one vehicle. It's paid for. And why are you buying? Why? So all I do when people ask me that, you could go out and get this. You can go out. I'm like, okay, I haven't paid a car note in X amount of years. the car note for this particular vehicle, which I particularly happen to like, and probably when it's time to get another one, I'm going to get another one. I say this particular vehicle, the note is generally around this way. If you put this much down and your interest is, this is what it's going to be. All right, I haven't paid a note in this many months. How much money have I saved? Now, think that at least 20% of that I saved went into some form of investment. How much did I make? Completely different way of thinking and discipline. And here's the other part that I thought about. None of the people that's going to pat me on the back for my shiny new whip is paying one of my damn bills. None of the people that are looking at it going, ooh, is contributing to any part of my success. And that little feeling you get when you drive that new whip off the lot, it's gone the first damn note you pay. It gets real. And now you're on your grind to pay a car note. If you got to do it, you got to do it. But just doing it because, hey, this is the cool thing, man. No, it gets me from point A to Z. It represents me well enough that I'm okay in it. I enjoy the comfort of it. I'm good. When it's time to get another one, I'm going to do everything I can not to have a note. What am I saying? I'm saying that you've got to have an understanding of how things work. It's a theme of mine. Anybody knows me, I pound that. You lose in life because you don't understand how things work. You're operating in a game that you don't know how things work. And you're constantly being exploited by the people who do. And until you learn how things work, you will consistently be at the bottom of whatever area, industry, concept or area of life you're operating in, whether it's in academics, whether it's in finance, whether it's in politics, whether it's in corporate America, whatever it is, even in relationships. If you don't understand the dynamic of human engagement, communication, and relationship building, people will exploit your misunderstanding of it. And you will constantly find yourself trying to figure out what's going on. Life is complicated in certain areas, and nobody masters it all. I take my beatings like anybody else. Some areas I'm that dude in. Other areas I'm looking like, what the hell is going on? But I'm never satisfied with getting my butt kicked. So I'm always learning. If you don't invest yourself in learning, I think it was Jim Rohn that says that the winners in this world are those who invest in themselves and invest in their education. And it's funny because that quote is the quote that convinced me to spend several thousand, well, a little more than several thousand on an event that Tony Robbins was giving when I was looking to rebuild my company almost 15 years ago. And the reason I invested in Tony is because Tony is a student. He's off the tree of Jim Rohn. He is a mentee of Jim Rohn. And he just seemed to have this impact. And everybody that I contacted said that when they attended, they got something out of it. It did. It changed me. And it put me on this path where I had to start over. And here I am. So my thing is, if you're serious about changing that situation, there's not going to be a perfect time, perfect opportunity. You create the time and you create the opportunity when you make the move. You can the way to do it today is to click that link if you can afford to pay the $9.97, but you can also use Afterpay and break that $9.97 down into 4 payments. And you get in and you still get the full benefit of if you've paid the $25.95 up front. That means quarterly one-on-one sessions with yours truly to break everything down, to also look at all your other goals outside of your financial goals. Financial goals are meant to facilitate the dream. So what's the dream? How are you working on that? How is that going? What does it look like to you? We're going to do all of that on top of it. And that's what paying up front gets you. Now, after today, it goes to the regular price, but you can still click that link because it allows you to use Afterpay, or you can go to the site and that link is in there. And if you go to the site, you can either pay the $25.95 up front, or you can choose the installment plan, which I believe is $4.95 down and $225 or something like that a month for 12 months. But either way, take advantage of it, because this is an opportunity to change your life. Like I said, this has been a labor of love for me. I can't tell you what's going into it, what it's taken out of me. I get emotional thinking about it, because I have gone through absolute hell and smiled and showed up and did my job and loved on people and came every day while fighting to produce this thing. And then the thing is, I know that even after producing it, getting people to see the value in it is a whole other ball game, but I'm ready for that fight too. But what I'm not going to do is sit back and say, well, that's never going to be me. That's never going to be me. Well, this is what's going on. No. I will leave this place having given everything I have. I will have taken my 86,400 seconds that I get every day, and I will have optimized them. What you do with what I give you is going to be up to you. But I'm going to show up. That's a promise I made to God. That's a promise I made to God. I'm showing up. You wake me up. This is my promise I made to God when I was at the worst point in my life. I said, you wake me up, I'm going to answer the bell. Wake me up, and I'm going to answer the bell. That's all I'm asking. I'm not begging for you to do anything else, because I'm built for this. Inside of you is everything you need to be everything you were designed to be. And you were designed to be great, but it's going to take you accessing that thing within you and then cultivating it. So on that note, look, I really hope to see you guys sign up today. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day, remainder of your week. Obviously, this is not the last time you're going to hear about it, but this is the last time you're going to get it for $9.97. It's going to go back to $25.95. But I guarantee you it's worth it times 10. Easily. On that note, I'm out of here. Take care. As I always say, I live my life on full, so that when I leave this place, I die on E. That's my challenge to you. I'm out.